All right, thank you all so much for being here with us during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Before I took office in January, during my time at Mayor Quentin Lucas's office, I learned from Judge Courtney Wackel that approximately 90% of domestic violence cases were being handled at the municipal level, which often lacks the resources needed to ensure appropriate accountability for serious cases. I knew immediately that we wanted to change that, which is why that was one of the first actions that we took after I was sworn in, about 10 months ago. I directed law enforcement partners and municipal prosecutors to send serious domestic violence cases, including those involving weapons, broken bones, strangulation, and repeat offenders, to be sent to our office, where we do have the tools to seek serious consequences that match the serious conduct we see in our community, hopefully breaking the cycle of violence before it comes fatal. Today, we are so proud to show you early signs that policy is working. The dashboard we're launching today reveals significant progress. Overall, we have filed 70% of all domestic assault cases referred to our office, up from 54% last year. In 2016, this office filed 45% of all domestic assault cases it received. Again, so far this year, we're trending right at about 70%, and we filed 38 more cases than we did during this time last year. Of the total cases involving intimate partner violence, or IPV, which is sexual violence, stalking, or psychological harm by a current or former partner or spouse, our office filed 75% of those cases this year, up from 64% last year. And our office tags IPV cases in any case that we see that includes IPV factors. Of the 6 homicides referred to our office involving IPV this year, 5 cases were filed for charging this year. And we have filed 100% of the harassment cases involving intimate partner violence we've received. We'll have our chief trial attorneys talk more exactly about what intimate partner violence consists of and how our APAs, or assistant prosecuting attorneys, track those cases in our system. This is proof that we are making progress, but we still have a lot of work to do, work that we are absolutely committed to doing. Right now, survivors are receiving justice. Abusers are facing real consequences, longer sentences, prevented from continuing the cycle of violence. This data is potentially saving lives. Earlier this year, we prosecuted a man who had 12 municipal cases related to domestic violence against his ex-girlfriend, including violating protection orders, physical assaults, and more. Some of those cases could have been handled here at the county level, where we have the resources and the authority to seek more serious consequences. But they stayed in municipal court, and the violence escalated until the man shot and killed his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend in front of their children. We secured a sentence of more than 20 years in prison, but by then, it was unfortunately too late. A father was dead, children witnessed a murder, and families are forever changed. This is exactly what this entire team is working to prevent. We cannot wait until it's too late, and we must intervene early and often and prosecute aggressively. This progress is happening because we're working directly with all of our law enforcement partners in Jackson County on these cases, and we are communicating with them on what kind of cases to send us. That is exactly the goal of the letter that was sent back in January. We're breaking down the silos between municipal and county prosecutors, and we're building a system where the most dangerous offenders don't slip through the cracks. I also want to note that not all cases or offenders look the same. Some offenders need to participate in our court's batterers intervention program and learn for the first time what a healthy relationship looks like. Breaking the cycle requires a balance of accountability and rehabilitation. What also makes this progress possible is people doing the real work every single day. I am so proud of the members of my team standing here with me today. These are the people that fuel the Special Victims Unit, both downtown and Eastern Jackson County, day in and day out. They handle some of the most tragic and unfortunate instances in our community with skill, with care, and with professionalism. You'll hear soon from 2 of our Special Victims Chief Trial Assistants, one from our downtown team and one from our Eastern Jackson County team. Just as important as the attorneys are our victim advocates, who are often the first point of contact for survivors, helping them navigate through some of the worst times in their lives. You'll hear from Emily, one of our victim advocates, and meet one of our service dogs. Actually, they're both here today, Ralph and Jack, standing up here with us today. Sometimes petting a dog can break the ice and help survivors and witnesses find their voice. We also have a clothing closet here in Jackson County that was the brainchild of Kristen, who is up here with us today. We have to remove every single barrier and make it easier for survivors to tell their story and seek justice and accountability on their behalves. The dashboard we are speaking about today is live right now. It is available on our website, and you can see every metric in real time. Cases received, cases filed, cases declined, dispositions, and the type of charges that we're filing. You can access the dashboard on our website at jacksoncountyprosecutor.com. Transparency matters to us just as much as results. And before I turn things over, I want to thank our incredible partners that are not here with us this morning. Our municipal courts, prosecutors, law enforcement partners, and domestic violence service providers who fight for survivors across Jackson County each and every day. We wish we could have invited all of you, but there certainly would not be enough room. Everybody that works in this space says that it is a calling. It is their life's work. Not everybody can handle these type of cases. And I'll be totally and completely honest with you. When I was first in the prosecutor's office, I tried to stay as far away from SVU as possible because it takes a certain heart. It takes a certain skill, and it takes a certain tenacity to deal with these issues in such a convoluted place like the criminal justice system. I just want you all to know that your work saves lives, and we're honored to work alongside you. Especially because studies show that it takes victims up to 7 times before they can successfully leave their abuser. Our office understands that. Each victim must make the best, safest decision for themselves and their families. But hear me when I say we are here to support you. All of us are here to support you. Statistically, everyone in this community interacts with survivors of domestic abuse on a daily basis, as neighbors, as family, as friends, and it is important that we all come together to look for the warning signs of abuse and learn how to support victims and survivors inside and outside of the criminal justice system. To anyone out there experiencing an abusive relationship, you are not alone. You've never been alone. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve justice, and we are here ready and willing to give it to you. Now, I'd like to introduce our Chief Trial Attorney from the Downtown Special Victims Unit, Nicole Erickson, to provide some remarks.
Sure. Nicole, Nichole, Erickson, Erickson. Thank you, Prosecutor Johnson. This is a first for me. I've been in the office for about 22 years, and about half of that time I have in some capacity worked in our Special Victims Unit. So a good portion of my career has been dealing with cases of domestic abuse, and child sexual offenses. And what I really appreciate the most that has happened here in the last year or so is it's here. It's being put out in the media more. I see it more. It's being talked about more. And I think anytime we can get it out in front of the community, the better chance we have of getting more reporting and getting more support for that reporting. So I really appreciate that Ms. Johnson has made this a talking point because I do think it matters that it has been out in the community, not just this month, but every month since she's been taking office. I do want to say that we, both in the downtown office and the Independence office, have a very dedicated group of attorneys, victim advocates, and support staff that help us do this job every day. Melesa talked a lot about IPVI, which is intimate partner violence. And that is a little different than domestic violence. The legal definition for domestic violence includes relationships by blood, which can be parents, siblings, cousins. It also includes those who reside together, which could be roommates. But it also encompasses intimate partner violence, those who are in an intimate relationship, those who share children in common. And that can be not not only physical violence, but oftentimes it can be emotional, and it can be seen in ways of control. You see it with property crimes, you see it with harassment and stalking, and so it can encompass many different factors. Our office has begun tracking intimate partner violence since about July of 2020. We do that through our case tracking system. We ask that any case that is filed that involves intimate partner violence be identified with a code. That way we can track intimate partner violence against all case types, not just domestic assaults. As we stated, that can be property crimes, that can be trespass, that can be many different forms of violence. And in order to better track that, we have asked our attorneys to denote that in our case system, that it's an intimate partner violence case. That way, it's going to include cases that are not just domestic assaults, but all types of cases. And our system is only as good as us tracking it, so we're still growing that. But for instance, my trial team leader, Danny Sedegzad, checks that weekly to make sure that cases are being properly flagged, and she works really hard on getting that done so that we have the best stats that we can for this community. And I also just want to reiterate what Ms. Johnson said, that we are here at every stage. And we have the ability to hold offenders accountable in many different ways. Not every offender is going to need a jail sentence. Some of them will need rehabilitation. Some of them have maybe never been in a solid relationship or had anyone show them what that looks like. So we do have a DV diversion court that does specifically work with getting them batterers intervention treatment and therapy. There is the opportunity for not only these diversion programs, but also probations that will allow them to go through interventions up to jail time. And so we do want to see some of these lower level cases as well, so that we can get in early and hopefully assist with interventions. Justice looks different in every case, and we definitely keep that in mind, and we definitely include our victims in those conversations because we want to do what's best for them and their family. And so now I'd like to introduce Tracy Rupp-Stansel, who is the chief in our Independence office.
Thank you, Nicole. I am Tracy Stansel. I am the Chief Trial Assistant for our Eastern Jackson County Special Victims Unit. While our downtown office handles cases from KCPD and Grandview Police Department, we have every other agency in Jackson County, which is 11. So that's a lot of law enforcement agencies for us to deal with. But we happily take that on. I will echo what Nicole said. It's very encouraging and refreshing to see this office take such an interest and focus on domestic violence, and in particular, intimate partner violence. I'd like to talk a little bit about what the data doesn't show, because behind every percentage point, there's a survivor who found the courage to come forward and seek the justice that they deserve. And it does take courage, and it does take strength to do that. Oftentimes, domestic violence isn't just a victim. It's children, it's a family, it's pets even sometimes. And all of those factors weigh on our victims when they are deciding what they're going to do when they're placed in a domestic violence or intimate partner violence situation. The data does not show the victim who's terrified to cooperate because they don't know what their abuser will do in retaliation, or the hours our office spends on the phone with survivors explaining the process, because for them, this is the scariest thing that's ever happened to them in their lives. The increased filing that we're doing now really helps to show victims that they can be survivors and they can seek justice. The important thing we want the community to know is that we can't review a case unless it's referred to us by law enforcement. We have an excellent reputation with our law enforcement partners and with our municipal courts, and they routinely reach out to us and ask us to look at cases that have been sent to them, and we are happy to do that. In addition to that, we have restructured our special victims units so that the same trauma-informed teams handle all levels of intimate partner violence, from property crimes to assaults to homicides. Our communities deserve prosecutors who understand the dynamics of abuse and who recognize the controlling behavior that one day can become lethal violence. Our goal is the safety of our victims. And as Nicole Erickson stated, that doesn't always look the same, and justice doesn't always look the same. We do what's best for each individual case and each individual victim. Ms. Johnson talked a little bit about our partners in the community, and one of those partners that we have in Eastern Jackson County is Hope House. They provide invaluable resources to our victims. Two of my victims right now have been helped by Hope House, have been able to take advantage of what Hope House has to offer, and as a result, they have the strength and the courage to face their abusers and to participate in the prosecutions. Hope House can help with rental assistance, which they're doing for one of my victims. They have shelter beds. One of my victims, with her kids and her dog, was able to go to Hope House when she left her abuser before she was able to get somewhere safe. And they're able to help with emergency orders of protection as well. So it's not just us, it's not just law enforcement, it's not just municipal prosecutors. This truly takes a group effort to get justice for these victims and to show the community that we take these cases seriously. And if we take these cases seriously, then we get justice for our victims and the abusers get whatever punishment they deserve. Now I'd like to invite one of our downtown victim advocates, Emily Pinkerton, to the podium.
Thank you, Tracy. My name is Emily Pinkerton. I'm a victim advocate here at the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office. I work in the SVU, the Special Victims Unit. My work is to support victims of domestic violence. Many times, the majority of the victims that we work with are coming to us experiencing everyday challenges. A lot of those challenges make it difficult for them to navigate an already complicated system of escaping their abuser, reporting violence, and then going through the criminal justice system. A lot of times, victims flee from their abusers with nothing but the clothes on their back. Just like the clothing closet put together by Kristen, those are some of the resources that we offer to survivors to help them navigate this process. My role is to connect survivors to community resources. Agencies that we partner with, such as domestic violence agencies like Rosebrooks, New House, Hope House, and Synergy, as well as culturally specific agencies like Maddie Rhodes, just to name a few. These agencies are able to help us lower those barriers for survivors to make it so they are able to navigate the criminal justice system with us. We also know that coming forward and talking about their experiences can be re-traumatizing for survivors. Our work as advocates is to create a safe, supportive environment for them to be able to do so. A lot of times that looks like talking with them about what to expect during a specific criminal setting, going with them to court, or working with them to prepare their victim impact statements. A lot of times having the support of our emotional support dogs, Ralph and Jax, helps them feel more comfortable to be able to have those challenging conversations and to talk about their experiences, whether that's through depositions or through trials. It's important that we make survivors feel safe and heard in our office. This is a way for us to start to build that trust that makes lowering those barriers and talking about their experiences a little bit more tangible, more accessible for survivors. The data shared today is powerful. In my role as a victim advocate, I'm able to see each one of those numbers as a person that I've had the privilege to work with and as a survivor who is deserving of justice. I'm proud to be part of an office that works to not just prosecute the cases, but to ensure that the strength survivors have shown by coming forward to report what they're experiencing is seen, and that the voices of domestic violence survivors that are so often silenced are heard. And with that, I'll turn it back to Prosecutor Johnson.
Thank you, everybody, and I hope this gave you all a bit of a snapshot of the powerhouses that we have working in the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office. And I have not been in office for a year, although time is certainly flying by. But this data really does show early signs of progress. And that progress is a communal effort. Chief Rupp Stansel hit it on the nail perfectly. This is about collaboration. The bottom line is that we're receiving more cases from law enforcement and we're charging more of those cases that we receive. But the work happens outside of the courtroom as well. The community partners that we work with, the educational campaigns that they perform, they're in the schools, they're meeting at the shelters, encouraging people to come forward sooner rather than later. Then law enforcement, they're responding to these incidents in an empathetic and trauma-informed way, which thereafter increases the likelihood that somebody cooperates with the system moving forward as well. And then when it reaches this office, hopefully you all have gotten a taste of the passion and the dedication that we devote to this work every single day. And so with that, I will open it up for any questions you might have.
Prosecutor, as you see all of our cameras here, we all have a large viewership in this county and in our viewing area. And for some man or woman or child in a situation today, and I know you touched on it briefly, and they think, I don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where, I've helped friends out of situations and they've said, I don't know where to start. So where would they start?
Everybody has a smartphone. Open up your smartphone and Google Hope House, Google New Start, Google, all of the organizations that we work with, Synergy Services, Moxa as well. They all have hotlines available for you to take that first step and get educated about this process because it can be convoluted. The criminal justice system is a juggernaut. You're wondering, what do I have to do? How many times do I have to come to court? Education is power, and that would be the first step. Frankly, that is not work that we necessarily do in this office because we really only engage after a case has been referred to us, as has been mentioned. But the preventative work, the work on the front line that our community partners do. And so I would encourage anyone to seek out the information. You don't know what you need until you see it. So just take that first step and try.
And just on terminology, SVU, Special Victims Unit?
Correct.
And the IPV, do you have a rubric that you guys use? I am, just from what I am hearing, that since 2020, that it's been a way to kind of catch other cases that belong under the umbrella of domestic?
Correct.
assault. Is that correct?
That is correct. Because things have evolved over time, right? Our understanding of intimate partner violence has changed drastically as social norms change, as relationships change. And so we've really had to evolve. And so that is a great suggestion. We'll make sure that a definition of IPV may be on our dashboard to make sure that everybody kind of level sets and understands what we are referring to when we use that term.
When you look at the numbers that have been tracking since 2020, were there any gotchas, any light bulbs that went off, surprises that you didn't know before with the numbers, the statistics?
Well, I think the COVID era was a real eye-opening for all of us. You know, you had people in their homes, not a lot of places to escape. Kids are in the house 24/7, so nerves are at the ceiling. And that can definitely make certain couples or certain individuals more susceptible to either being victimized by violence or committing violence. But aside from that, there really hasn't been too many gotcha moments that we can glean from the data right now, aside from the ongoing need for education and preventative measures. Listen, the only type of good DV or IPV that exists is one that is prevented before it ever occurs or is ever able to happen. And that requires real work. There are some people in our community that have never either seen or participated in a healthy relationship in their entire lifetime. We can't solve that directly through the criminal justice system. That has to happen in schools, in homes, in classrooms, at family dinners, right? In mentorship meetings. And so making sure that we are hitting those notes while we lean into accountability is probably the biggest lesson that I have learned from the data that we have seen thus far.
I know it could be buried in the paperwork somewhere, but was there like a specific percentage of IPVI versus regular domestic violence?
There is, and that is reflected on the dashboard. Just think about it this way. IPVI is kind of the big umbrella, and domestic assault, harassment, stalking, and property crimes related to intimate partner violence are kind of under that umbrella.
How is transparency transparency with these numbers on this dashboard, do you foresee helping victims, survivors come forward and talk about their experiences?
I want them to know that if they do take the huge first step of contacting law enforcement and seeking a better future for themselves, their kids, and their families, that they have a prosecutor's office that is ready and willing to have their back. A 70% charging rate is well above the national average. And we want our community to know that we will hold your hand and walk with you through this very, very difficult time. We have to understand that it's not as easy as telling somebody to leave. They have to think about how I'm going to pay child care next week. Where is my dog going to go? Who's going to have custody of our pets? These things that might seem nominal to us are everything to the survivors that we serve. And so we want them to know that we have their back and that we will continue to do so.
Have you spoken with survivors or victims about these numbers, and have they said that just seeing that other people are coming forward and reporting it, has that helped them?
Absolutely. And even just the increased awareness that Chief Erickson spoke about earlier. If we normalize speaking about the trauma that is incurred at the conclusion or the ongoing participation in a DV or IPV incident, that makes people feel more comfortable to come forward and to speak about their experiences, not just with law enforcement, but with their friends, with their children, with their coworkers, to make sure people feel empowered and encouraged to seek the help that they so desperately need.
We can do 1 or 2 more questions. Good.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Tracy, we just need spelling of your name.
Yes.
Sure. Tracy is Traci.
I'm glad I asked.
Correction, it's Jax, not Jack.
Jax, Jax.
Last name is Stansell.
Stansell.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you're welcome.
And the dashboard is live now, so you can go on our website and click on the dashboard. Right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. We appreciate your coverage.